Okay, g'day, and welcome to another episode of Plein Air Painting with Richard Musgrave-Evans. Now today what we're going to try to achieve is a minimalist plein air painting. That is getting the whole basic effect with the little amount of paint applied as possible. Now this should be a bit of fun, and I'll show you the technique as I go. Okay, g'day there. I'm Richard Musgrave-Evans, and today, again, we're working in country Victoria with a beautiful body of water. Now this is in Australia, of course, and as usual I've got the clear primed Belgian linen, large palette knives and oil paint. Now this is the way I usually work, and it's also the way I'm going to be working today. Right, bit of a gust of wind coming through. Now what I'm going to do is I've already just blocked in some darks, and that's just to basically give me a feeling of the composition. Next trick is to work out what the biggest differences are between that and that. That's the way I like to work, in order of visual importance. And to me at the moment, I think I'm going to get stuck into those nice reflections that we've got along the bank here. So let's do this. Okay, so that'll be, I might start with some burnt sienna and yellow ochre first, see what kind of mix that gives me. Just going to get a touch of viridian green over to the side, half mix that in as well, because there's a bit of greenery here. What do we got? There's a little bit of greenery there that's reflecting in as well, so just on the edge of the bank. Let's have a look here. Right. Yep. A bit more green and a bit more yellow. Now I just apply that with downward marks for now. Like so, and that gives the illusion of those beautiful reflections. Just pull through like so. Next I might go down a layer, which is actually the reflections now of the bank, that beautiful golden bank. I'll mix up a slightly, we've got to go fairly dark still, because the water is normally a deeper tone. The reflection is usually a deeper tone than the actual paddock above it. I'll see what I've got here. It's fairly light. Let's have a look at that. Now, I need to just grey it off slightly. I'll introduce a couple of cooler colours to make it slightly greyer, so the chromatic saturation is not quite as strong. Getting close, so I'll just start lightly putting that in. Yeah, right, okay, hang on. Put that in. Now, before I go any further, make sure I get the reflection of that beautiful tree there. Where are we? Just mix up those colours. Nice downward marks all the way down. Okay. There we go, like beautiful downward marks. That's to give the reflection of that. Now, we got right. I'm just making sure that I'm putting these reflections where the trees actually are. So you've got the trees up here, reflections directly below, so it looks convincing. Don't have to be exact, it's just general idea. Right. I might just stand back and have a look at that one. Okay. Move that to one side, so I've got some room to work here. Now, let's have a look at this foreground. Right, that foreground, maybe I should use a bit more of this. Quite deceptive colour, that foreground. I'm actually going to put a little bit of this beautiful ochre-y, whatever, right down here. I'll start off with marks them this way at first, just to get the paint on. And I'll finish with marks that way to give the feeling of reflections going down. Nice, dusty. Okay, biggest differences, ching ching ching. Some sort of sky colour is going to get reflected in, obviously. A high level cloud around today. Okay, so we'll just mix that up. Mix. Now let me just have a feel of what we've got here. I'll start with that colour, just bung her in. At the moment I'm not blending them together yet, they're all just sitting next to each other. But the plan is I will blend very shortly. That is the plan anyway. Close to the edge. In here. A little bit in there. There. Okay, now let's have a look. Go a bit deeper. Deeper in tone. There's a little. You can start off with those light reflections here, and then they get a deeper tone through here. So, maybe a bit more blue. It can be quite a deceptive colour sometimes. Got a bit more blue in the mix. Let's see what we got here. Yep. Okay, now a little bit of that colour in there, a little bit there. Right, now even go deeper. As it gets to the foreground, have a look at that. Sometimes half squinting your eyes gives you the feeling of what's going on there. Just going to take some of that paint off so it's not too thick. Right. Now I'm just going to stand back and have a look at what I got. I can go up a bit high just to compose the picture. I feel like that. Don't get too carried away here. Let's have a look. What do we got here? Right. Bung a few of those in like so. Now, why I like to work in the order of visual importance, you'll see that the colour of that grass there is actually very similar to the colour of the clear primed linen. So that I'll leave for now. The next biggest difference will be the sky. Clear the area so we can work. Keep a clean palette knife too. Right. Okay. Like I said earlier, there's a fair bit of high level cloud in the sky today, which is actually quite an interesting effect, so I'm enjoying that today. Sometimes that high level cloud gets in the way and can be hard to see the sunlight and can grey everything off, but today it seems to be working alright. you'll notice, we've got the flies again today. That seems to be part of the whole deal. That's how it goes. Alright. Mix up a nice blue here. Mix. Okay, what do we got here? Bunging some of that blue in. Okay, now I'll just stand back and have a look. That's going alright, so we'll go up another notch, a bit more blue. See what that's doing. Put that up in there. Oops. Okay, now let's grab a bit of this paper towel. I love this paper towel, great stuff. Now, I might just, let's have a work this composition. Yeah, just pull that through like that. Clean knife, very clean knife like so. Pull it through. Having a bit more of that high level in there because it is around and it looks good. Changing the directions of which way the clouds are flowing and the marks are moving. Okay, I'll stand back, have a look. Getting there. Just lighten some blue up. I need a slightly lighter tone here to go a little bit lower in the sky. Just down through here somewhere. Keep the knife fairly clean. Drag it through. Okay, now getting down there to the horizon, it's just greying a little bit, so I'm going to add just a bit of magenta to that mix to grey it off, maybe a tiny bit of burnt sienna. End up with a more neutral sort of grey as it gets closer to the horizon. Just down in these areas. Even though that's the case, there's still that beautiful warm tone I can see with that, so I'm going to mix up a little bit more here of the yellow ochre, burnt sienna and the white. Half mix it into that. Let's see what we've got here. That's pretty good. Stick her in here. Okay. Just coming up near the edges of these branches, doing a bit of draftsmanship work in the middle of it all. Need to keep the palette knife clean. When you're working with that light tone sky very close to the dark tone trees, you do need to keep the palette knife quite clean, otherwise you can get yourself in trouble here. Now, because we've got those warm tones, obviously those warm tones are also going to be reflecting in here, so at the moment that's a little bit cold. I'll soon fix that up. I'll bung a few of those warmer colours in here. Flies. Now the trick is here, this is going to be a bit of fun, I'll just put this over here. The trick is, as you can see, all the those different layers there are also in the layers I've got here. The fun part is to blend them, so get a very clean knife. Let's start off, what are we going to start with? Let's start with that. So pull down like so, wipe it absolutely clean. Downward marks. Okay. It's important to clean the flies off your face. So it's important to, flies, to clean the knife between each brush mark, or palette knife mark I should say. Alright, so here we go. Grab here, pull down like that. That's pulling them all together. Wipe that knife clean. Wipe it clean. Okay, I'll stand back and have a look. Right, biggest differences. Okay, that bank has some nice light colours in here which I haven't put in yet. Move all this to one side. Clean that off, get rid of all those cold colours because I'm going to go for some warm tones. So we've got yellow ochre again. Going to go for some cadmium orange, really make it pop. Full sunlit colours in amongst all this. What have we got there? No, that's not quite what I want, so let's put a bit more white in that. Yep. Probably go, let's rub that off. I'm just going to go a light little tone of magenta and white over here. Magenta and white mixed together. Now half pull that into this mix. Half mix it. Let's see what we got. That's better. Now it's just got a slight purple tinge about it, which it has actually got in real life. The camera's not necessarily picking up on that, but rich earthy tones. Very light, just a slight purple tinge about it, very lightly touching, so a lot of the under stuff is showing through. Okay. Now there's a bit of a track winding its way across the top of this dam, so where am I going to go? Yeah, I might pull it through here. Go a bit lighter, a bit more of that magenta mix. Bring her in like so. Alright, I'll stand back and have a look. I'll keep that colour, I won't wipe it all off, it's a nice colour, I'll just give the knife a bit of a clean. Alright, now let's work with this paddock, this sunlit paddock. It's a bit greyed off, but it's a very light tone. It's very high key Australian full sunlight. That's the bonus of working in high noon. I like to work morning and evening. You get all those beautiful fleeting colours and effects. But working in midday, you can get some really high key effects in Australia with that very bright light. Okay, just bung some of this in. See, that blue's mixing with it a bit, which is good. It's killing it off a little bit because it's got a bit of a grey also. See, that grass has also been in the weather, like it's a nice dry straw colour, but then it's had some rain on it, and what the rain and sun does is then bleaches it, a bit like old timber. It goes a bit greyer. And so that's the case here. So, in saying that, I'm going to mix up another little patch over here that's got quite a bit of grey in it. Move that out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Have a look at that. There we go. Yep. Lightly drag it down. So, and the horizon here is just receded a bit, so it's got that same kind of grey, grassy green. Bung that in. Okay, I'll stand back. Clean knife. Okay. Bit more orange in the bank here. Let's have a look. Get that cat orange thrown in. Hear those birds? Sound great. Those cockies. They sound fantastic. I love the sounds you get in the Australian bush. I just love plein air painting in general, obviously, but heck, you can get some beautiful sounds when you're out here too. Pure white. Just drop. Look at there. Just drop the pure white in here and there like this. That'll be. There's the magpies too, I can hear. Drop to the next size palette knife, ever so slightly smaller. Those cockies sound great. A few wider highlights on the edge. Okay, biggest differences now. Just mix up the colour of that those weeds. I've got a bit of a shadow colour version of them. Now I'm going to mix up a bit of light surface version. So those little grassy tufts, nice little just some nice upward marks like so with the palette knife. To give the illusion of something going on like that. So, okay. Right, now mix up a bit of a magenta come blue come sort of pale greyish colour. Now mix it with a little bit of foliage here, that'll kill it off a bit. more of that colour in it to warm her up. Okay, now just going to try some of the light. I've got the shadow tone in the distance here, but it's almost the same colour as the linen, which is always good. I love leaving the linen if I can. Lightly, very lightly dragging, so it's hardly touching, and that's giving the illusion of foliage. Less is more too. Let's get stuck into the big knife again, clean her off. What do we got here? See if we can just smudge it a bit more. Pull that through, take some paint as you go. Get rid of some of this here, take that off. Clean up the edges a bit. Alright, I'll just stand back and have another look. Let's have a look what you're seeing. Yep. See, that's about it. Like, basically I've got all the colours and tones. As you can see, they're kind of, everything's sort of basically there. I like to do as little as possible, but make it work as much as possible. So the idea is, you look at the painting from the back and you've got the feeling of the real world. You get up close and you've got, it's all about paint. It's raw. There's a lot of linen showing, and a lot of broad marks rather than too finicky. Now I find that all works better when you're working on outdoors, because I'm matching the colours much closer than if I was at home, and because I can see the subtle colours here, I can match them much closer, so you can be very broad but still convincing. Anyway, what I'll do is get the camera off and let you have a look. No worries, thank you, cheers. Okay, minimalist plein air. Now here I'm trying to work with as little marks as possible and as little amount of work as possible, leaving a lot of the raw linen, and everything's only stated once. Now if you can get this right, you can get quite an interesting effect with just, as you can see here, a lot of the raw linen is imitating the branches and the leaves. And the distant hills here, I've got the shadows of the trees, but the linen itself is acting like the light source. Very, very simple way to create an interesting effect. Now we'll just pan in and see some of the colours that I've used. Cobalt blue, burnt sienna, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, titanium white, cadmium orange, magenta and viridian green. Okay, and here's the mixing. And there you go, that's the basic overall effect. Now we'll just come in and have a look at the actual subject matter itself. Well, there it is. Now remember, if you like this video, to press like on the video, forward it on to your friends and subscribe. Until next time, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.